here. So for this next part, grab a block, have your block handy, and lie onto your back. Now we're going to place the block between the upper thighs and have your feet about where they would be for bridge pose, but maybe just slightly, maybe an inch forward of that. So normally if you find your place for where you would put your feet for bridge, just cinch them a little tiny bit forward, just a little bit there. And your legs are hip distance apart. Okay, so we're just going to bring the arms by your side. Relax here a moment. And just checking in with the body sensing. Just what's arising in the moment here. Okay, so we're going to work with another way, just a variation of bridge pose to really sense into the glutes today. So feet flat on the floor and feel particularly the inside edge of the feet. So the ball of the big toe and the center of the heel, making sure we want all 3 points of contact to come onto the floor, but we don't want to roll more to the outside edge of the feet. So just staying connected to the 3 points of the feet as you squeeze the block a little now, and then start to tuck your tail. So you're flattening your back a little into the floor here, and just start to peel your pelvis off the ground, keeping as much of the lumbar spine on the floor. Okay, so you're just coming up a tiny, tiny bit, and then start to peel a little bit more of your spine off the floor. So maybe I feel like my solar plexus in the back is still on the floor here. So you're not, your ribs are really nestled here. Reach the knees a little forward as you squeeze the block. And then maybe come up one more vertebrae. Now you may get to a point where it's just a stopping point. We're just going to hold that. And this is just about the amount of hip flexion, or hip extension rather, that we have available. So we're just holding here, a little tuck, a little reach, a little squeeze. And then let's come all the way back down. I'm okay if you don't roll down one vertebrae at a time. And we'll do that twice more, all right? So 3 points of the feet. Scoop the tail under, squeeze the block a little, and then just start to peel the back of the pelvis off the floor, just a tiny. So the glutes are starting to work here, and then peel a little bit more of your back body off the floor, just a little at a time, teeny at a time, not letting your spine go into an arch. Okay, so lifting up, reaching knees a little forward. So I'm feeling a little shaking going on here. Squeeze the block. Make sure the 3 points of the feet are on the floor and you can breathe. And then go ahead and come back down. Okay, so one more time. This can really help to restore length to the psoas, open up the hip flexors. So let's curl the tailbone up, squeeze the block, peel the pelvis off the floor, and pause just incrementally. Starting to come up a little bit more, body sensing, shoulders and neck relaxed. It's not about height. Reach the knees a little forward, hug the block, and breathe. Now breathe into your rib cage. And then slowly bring yourself back down to the floor. All right, take your block out and away, and we'll just hold one knee in each hand here for a moment. Let's circle the knees out and away from each other and together. So stirring the hips. I feel a little residual work in my inner thighs there. Okay. So now we're going to bring the feet down. Grab your rolled blanket that you might have had. And you can unroll it, is fine. We're just going to place a folded blanket under your pelvis. So not anything too thick, right? Maybe less than the height of a block. So you can fold your blanket. I like to put it right beside me, lie onto my back, and then lift my hips up and take the blanket underneath. So very similar to supported bridge. You want to have the blanket folded under the pelvis, not on the lumbar spine, not on the lower back. Now this can bring your pelvis into a little bit of a tuck, which is just where we're going to stay with today. It's nice to be able to do different ways of movement with your pelvis. So today we're exploring this. So let's bring your feet off the ground. Hold one knee in each hand. And as your knees come in, you may be able to feel your lower back coming a little closer to the floor. That's fine to have that happen. All right. Now let's keep the left knee, holding on to the left knee. Bring the right foot back to the floor. Now we'll take the arms up to the sky and then bring your left knee a little bit forward so it's more over your hip here. Now if you want to, you can bring your left shin parallel to the floor. So what we're doing here is we're building a little bit of core dead bug position. So just keep the leg where it is, the left leg up, right leg down, and start to take the arms back. So as your arms go back, you might feel a little bit of engagement in your core. And then bring the arms back up to the sky. So this is just arms and left leg lifted. Sometimes it's too subtle and you won't feel the work, but the idea here is that your back of your spine is staying very steady. Okay. Let's do one more, just arms and left leg. And then bring your left foot down. Bring your right foot up, left foot down. Knee is over the hip here, and we'll keep that and we'll just go back. So the idea is as your arms go back, your deep core muscles between your ribs and pelvis are supporting your whole spine, supporting your trunk. So arms go back. Now you can exhale if you like as you go back with the arms and inhale as they come up. So this is a lower level of work in the core here. So bring your left or right foot down, bring your arms down. So I'm going to just go to a couple different variations which will up the challenge so you can stay with this first one that we just did. The second option would be to bring one foot in at a time, one knee in at a time, and bring the knees over your hips. Now your feet can just dangle and bring your arms up. So just keeping both knees up, suspended in the air here. Let's take arms back first. Maybe your core turned on a little bit there. Bring the arms to the sky. So this would be a second variation here, just arms coming up. Try not to let your back move away from where it is. So keeping nice engagement, just stabilizing through the spine. Now, if you want to add a little bit more, you can tap your right toes down as your arms go back, and then bring your toes back up, and then tap your left toes down as your arms go back. But as soon as you start to arch your back or go into a back bend, it's too much work for your core at this moment in time. So stay with one of the other variations. I like the one with just the arms going back, because just holding the legs up like this is working the core, okay? So just a couple more like this. And if you've taken a break, then you've taken a break. That's okay. All right, and then go ahead and bring both feet down. Bring your arms down. Let's lift the hips up. Take your prop out from underneath you. And let's just take your right ankle over your left knee now and draw your legs in for a hip stretch. If you don't like to have your legs draw in, you can just stay with your left foot on the floor and just work this femur rotation through the right leg, coming towards the belly and away. Otherwise, a nice passive stretch, drawing the legs in, can feel nice. And then we'll switch sides. Take the left ankle above the right knee. Either draw the legs in towards your chest, or you can just rotate your left thigh bone in and out here. And then uncross the leg. Let's take the one knee in each hand again. We'll circle the knees out and away and then together. Out and away and together. Feel the pelvis rock. Let your head move along for the ride. And then we'll bring your feet down to the floor. Now, I'm going to just recommend a straight-legged Shavasana today. We did a lot with legs bent. So if you need to, you can put some roll under your knees. You can also always take Shavasana or half Shavasana with your feet on the floor, knees bent. And close your eyes and bring your hands to your solar plexus. So right around middle torso, let your elbows rest on the floor. And once you're in your resting position here, just noting the thoughts or the plans or activity of the mind for a moment. Just let it be free, just to be. Just your mind doing what it does. Planning, daydreaming, whatever is arising here, just welcoming it in. And then we can just come to the awareness of the breath here under the hands and see how perhaps if we channel the mind into the breath, our attention, our focus into the breath, that the mind chatter might slow down a little bit. Reminds me of when we're looking at the ocean, there might be a lot of waves upon the surface. But as you go down a little deeper into the ocean, the waves become more still. So on the surface, the mind is busy, just doing what it naturally does. And we bring attention to the flow of the breath and slow the waves. Just sensing how your body is supported on the earth here. Waves of breath, slow and easy.